And welcome to
Enjoy the Show.
Hosted by yours truly, Arturo.
And I am Billy.
And how we doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm very, very excited to talk about what we're about to talk about today.
I mean, same. We are discussing Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
You know what? I also want to say this.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting to say spoilers like before our videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm so used to having it for the audio on the podcast. I always forget to mention that we spoil all the things that we talk about. So
This is your spoiler.
This is a spoiler warning. Your one and only one. And before we start today's episode, I'd like to send out not a moment of silence, but like my condolences to the family of Kevin Conroy, if that's okay.
Yeah, man.
Like, how sad that we have lost Batman, the voice of Batman from the Batman animated series. Personally, I grew up with him. He's Batman to me. I know everyone always picks like Christian Bale or like Michael Keaton or whoever, but to me, Kevin Conroy's Batman, man.
Yeah, I mean, his voice is iconic forever.
Super
I think he's a part of so many people's childhoods, just intertwined with what is Batman. He later on also voiced him in the Arkham animated series and additional films, Killing Joke. And I mean, he is Batman, man. Yeah, that news kind of hit me like a brick.
Yeah, same. I think it was the same day that Wakanda Forever came out, right?
I don't remember. Was it Friday?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Friday. I remember I was texted about my buddy Lester. Texted me about it in the morning. I remember when I found out.
Yeah. It's just it's really sad, and obviously I just wanted to say something about it. I've said my piece about it on social media, but I'd like to, hopefully, just send a little peace and love out to, Kevin if he has any family, I don't know. But, just wanted to send out some love to the guy because he's an icon.
Yeah.
Love that guy, But anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Another piece of media that deals with the theme of loss and grief and
yeah, man. I mean, that's the biggest thing in this film. Definitely is the journey of grief, and it's dude, it punched you, man. Because I mean, unfortunately, Chadwick tragically passed away, and that was when the script was already written, the first script.
That's right, yeah.
So to go forward and kind of decide what to do, do you recast? Do you not? There's a lot that they had to juggle and figure that out, and. The film that we ended up getting, just being a tribute to him, honestly, was, dude, from that opening of, I mean, the fact that it was a cold open and just, being in a situation where we know his life is on the line, and he's succumbing to this illness and mirrors, what happened in real life, and then when the opening Marvel credits opened up and it was all Chadwick,
just silent too. That dude, I don't know about you, I cried. This movie made me cry multiple times. I think everybody can say that it did.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like both Maya and I were tearing up, and the whole theater outside of the silence was you could hear. Like throughout the seats. Like, wow, what time did you see it? Or by the way,
11:30 p.m. on Thursday.
Oof, yeah, that's late.
Yeah, because I had to. I have a new job and I had to work.
Oh, you're gonna see it afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And that's like when you're. Like that's your normal operating hours, anyways.
It usually is, but for the past so long, I haven't had a normal job. I was able to go see a movie whenever the first showings were. Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw what time the first showings of
3 p.m.
Yeah,
I saw the 3 p.m. showing.
You might as well. You might as well just release the movie on Thursday instead of.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it was a Thursday showing.
No, what I mean is like, they...
okay, yeah.
The worldwide release is on November 11th. You might as well just be like, in theaters November 10th.
Well, it has... it's funny. My Natalie brought it up once to me. The same thing that, there's so much... I don't know how that all works, to be perfectly honest. I remember they used to always be at midnight, and then they moved up to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I remember 2008, that's when it happened, at least for my area. And it's just kind of been getting earlier and earlier. And this year was, I've started seeing showings at 3 p.m. and it was shocking.
Dude, I remember seeing like when the first Venom came out, 5 o'clock, and then Avengers Endgame was like 4 o'clock, and I'm like, it just keeps getting earlier and earlier, and that's awesome. It's fine.
Yeah.
It gives the people.
I just don't know how it works, because I don't think like every place is available on Thursdays, like different areas, but it's
idea.
Still falls under the early screening things or whatever. But
Yeah.
Hey, it allowed me to see it at Thursday at 3 p.m. Yeah. My parents looked after Damon while my own I wouldn't go see it.
That's nice.
Dude, what a movie, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, right from the get-go, man, it just hits you.
Oh, hard.
And honestly, like to go back to what you were saying about how the script was the first draft was written when Chadwick died. First off, I would wonder what that story would have been had he would have been with us still. But when people found out, obviously when the world found out that Chadwick died, the question was, well, what are they going to do with him? Are they going to recast him? Are they just going to pass the mantle on to somebody else? Are they going to CGI him in? Like, what are they going to do? Mm-hmm. And honestly, I always thought that I didn't want them to recast, just because I feel like that Chadwick was such an iconic actor for the role that, like, hopefully this doesn't sound offensive, then he's kind of the only man to do the job. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm sure there would have been somebody else to do a great job. But however, I just think that for the sake of the greater, bigger picture, that they just passed the mantle along. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that they did that. What about you? Like, what do you think?
Dude, I mean, like, well, initially, just my thoughts weren't even there yet, man. Like, as to like, what happens next. It was more of just like, dude, that like it was finding out, that he had cancer. And that no one knew, basically.
Right.
Like, I was just reeling in all of that. Like, I remember the night I found out, I was drinking on my front porch with Tim.
Yeah.
And it's just...
How long ago was his passing? 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2020, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
February... Was it February? No, that wasn't February. Was it fall?
No, I don't remember.
But it was 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, and... Yeah, it just it was a shock, man, for sure. But then once everyone was talking about what could potentially happen moving forward, because I know his brother spoke out a lot about it.
Oh,
and he felt that Chadwick would have not wanted the character to die with him. That he would have never like said like, oh well, this is me. Like no, he would have wanted to see the story progress and see the character live on. It is a very unique situation where that is our first and only now live action T'Challa, whereas you have other characters who it's become a thing of honor to carry on to the next actor, like characters like Joker and Batman and things like that. James Bond, but with T'Challa being the only one so far, like it was this, I don't know. I felt like there was still a lot of stories to be told with T'Challa within the comic book runs, like so much, but in the same time, like I completely understood like what they wanted to do regardless, and seeing how this came across in the film, it like seeing the characters go through their grief, their loss, it felt so relatable for an audience member because we experienced it,
same thing,
and then knowing that it's also the actors experiencing it. So like it's all very tragic, but it ended up being something, I guess, kind of beautiful in the sense that
that's exactly the word I was going to say. It was beautiful.
It was a tribute to him.
Like people my family is going to go see it eventually. They haven't seen it yet, and they don't care about spoilers. So they were like, how was it? How did they handle like Chadwick's death? Like, did they handle it well? And I was like, dude, it was the best way they could have handled it. Like, given the circumstance, it obviously was the best thing that they could have done. And honestly, it was probably the most like, it was a very honorable like tribute and honorable way to remember his death, like through the movie. And they're like, well, how did they like kill him off? And I was like, they were like, and I was like, oh yeah, it was like an incurable heart disease of some kind, I think. And that
identifiable.
Was that he died of cancer? Chadwick died of cancer. What kind of cancer was it again?
I believe it was stomach cancer.
Okay, I was just wondering because I didn't remember what kind it was, and I was wondering if they just like took the same illness and just.
Well, in the film, they just said it was undetermined.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it was, or
Okay.
unidentifiable. I think
Okay.
it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Ultimately, what I had heard a lot, which I actually thought would have been really interesting, is if turns out Killmonger had survived, and not succumbed to his wounds, and then done everything as a tribute to T'Challa. Like he had passed away in the film, and then Killmonger would have then done everything, I guess, the right way in honor of T'Challa. And to me, that would have been a really interesting flip on carrying on the mantle, but then still telling us and giving us the stories that T'Challa fulfilled in the comics, and things like that. That would have been a really interesting approach. Clearly, that is not how we saw thought things unfold. And they gave the mantle to Shuri, which happened in the comics as well. The MCU version is very different than the comic book version in terms of
in what aspect?
Shuri in the comics is a lot more warrior. She's a warrior. She doesn't really care for technology at all.
Oh, okay.
She's more of the mystical aspect.
Okay.
Whereas that was flipped for the MCU, where T'Challa being more disapproving of technology, but more of the supernatural side, the mystical side. So that was some of my apprehension, just coming from the background of the comics, of wondering how they were gonna, lead into that, because the Black Panther has always been this this warrior, this protector.
Yeah.
But they ended up carrying it out really well. I think they showcased Shuri really stepping up to the plate. Letitia Wright, like that was the thing that too, because with T'Challa gone, who's our main character? And when the film opened it up, like I really I saw it all being Angela Bassett's film.
Yeah, for real.
And oh my god, her acting was just
crushed it.
Fucking amazing in this. Like like I don't really talk about stuff like that, but she needs to get nominated for this for sure. Like
that's the talk of the town.
I'm not usually like oh this and that, but no, she, like that. Wow, that was like I got chills. I mean the whole scene with the UN and her delivering her speech on what's going on, and America's over here like we want vibranium, we want weapons, friends like us too, and blah. And then at the same time we find out that their forces attacked this outreach center. And then the Dora Milaje showed up with all of them there kneeling. Like that was so fucking badass. Everything about the Dora, by the way, in this film was incredible.
Oh yeah, man.
Like, and the way the score uplifted everything and tensed everything up, and all the woo woo woo. Like I was so fucking sick. Yes. And just having that just with Angela's speech and as Queen Ramonda, like that was just incredible. And I thought, okay, cool, this is her film. And then she also dies in the movie.
I know,
and
dude.
I was not expecting that at all.
That.
I was gutted again. A lot of things gutted me in this film. That when Okoye was honorably discharged, like Shuri coming into her grief on so many levels, and then her having to carry said film, and everything that she went through, and just her rage, with the whole situation. Like it's I get it, it's what a lot of people go through. Her seeing Killmonger was something I never expected.
Yeah, like
and
literally,
and it's such, and I was on the edge of my seat.
I literally was like, whoa, wait a minute, like because she tried calling out to Queen Ramonda and. It was such a slow build up and a slow panning, and then you see fucking Michael B. Jordan back in his fucking glory, and I literally was like, "Oh dude, my!" And you want to know, like, kind of where I thought it was gonna go was, and I don't know if they would have actually done this, but I was thinking, oh, is Killmonger's like soul going to like go into Shuri, and like that's how Killmonger's gonna like come back?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's funny because like. Because he was there, because he was such a presence, because he did not miss a fucking beat from the last time we saw him, I thought somehow he was gonna somehow come back too. Yeah. Like, I wasn't necessarily thinking that just yet in my head, but I'm all like, is there a way he comes back? But because that was also a popular theory a while back, where he was dead, but then they were gonna do all this stuff with like the underworld and voodoo, and then bring him back as a weapon for someone else pulling the strings and this and that. So I wasn't sure what they were gonna do just there.
Okay.
Then, and a long time ago, Angela Bassett did say that everyone was back, including Michael B. Jordan, but that was the first script when things were different. So I don't know how much has shifted since then, but seeing him was so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that never shifted, Namor was always planned to be the antagonist.
Okay.
And boy, what a fucking character,
dude. I'm gonna say this. Whoever that guy is, Teno Huerta.
Yeah.
Where's he been?
Mexico. He's a huge superstar over there.
My God, dude, that guy crushed.
Oh yeah, he's freaking phenomenal.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the times people give a lot of shit to Marvel because they're like, oh, the villains aren't that good. This guy was really good.
There was so much about his character and just wanting to protect his people, and like it was done so well. He was never a straight up villain. Like, you got to see so much fleshed out within his family, his culture, his world.
Yeah.
The whole scene where we drift into Talocan and the song Con la Brisas play, like, dude, I lost it. It was just so beautiful, and to me, it was such it was pride, man, of like my heritage and where my family come from, and to see characters represented that are Mesoamerican and that have that background within like the Latino community, like, dude, it was just I was floored, man. They brought it to life so well. Namor, you understood it, you weren't mad at it. It's funny because in the comics, he's a lot more of a cocky asshole.
Sure.
Where they did keep some of that there, so every now and again you see these edges of it. But like, where sometimes Namor bleeds the lines harder in the comics, but in this, you immediately understood, man.
Yeah.
And I loved just seeing that, and he was, like you mentioned, portrayed phenomenally.
Yeah.
And I just wanted more. Like,
Me too.
he could potentially show up in a Fantastic Four movie because he has a long history with them. He's always trying to get at Invisible Woman.
What I heard through the research I've done on the internet, looking up his character, apparently, and I could be paraphrasing, I could be saying this completely wrong, Dr. Doom like uses him sometimes to like extract vibranium, or
sort of. So that's I'm glad you brought up Dr. Doom, because that seems like that was the professor that Ironheart Riri kept referring to. It never got confirmed in the film. It could have been him. It could have been Reed Richards. It could have been Professor Xavier. We don't know just yet. But Doctor Doom, is, because of Namor's long history with Fantastic Four, he has come across paths a lot with Doctor Doom. Right. So, I mean, potentially you could see something like that happen in the MCU. I just don't know just yet. And the same page I did want to mention is that he could potentially even not just, I mean, he has his whole history with Fantastic Four, yes.
Yeah.
But something that was very important about his character that I'm really glad they established in the film is the fact that he's a mutant. Mm-hmm. This is now our first ever mutant on the MCU film, like, depiction. Mm-hmm. Ever. Mm-hmm. So that's huge. In the comics, he was actually the first mutant as well, is like publication history wise. So just that now that we have that, and that can lead into the X-Men, because he was on the X-Men for a while.
Oh, really?
In a longer story with the Dark X-Men first, and then the regular X-Men, and then Emma Frost was involved, which he was also trying to get at. He's looking for his queen always. So there's a lot of where they can go now in that direction, because we're getting the rights to all these characters back.
Yeah.
Or they are back. And just seeing how things will navigate for the future. I don't know just yet, but everything that was done within this film was fucking sick.
I agree. Another question that I have is there a reason why he was not Atlantean in the film?
No, yeah, I love that you brought that up, actually. So that was a big thing, because in the comics he is from Atlantis. I mean, that's the whole world. And so when they were adapting this, I'm sure everyone was like, okay, well, how do we do it? How do we differentiate from the Atlantis in Aquaman and DC's version? And as it kept developing, and because I heard a long time ago that they were always planning something to do with the Mesoamerican culture. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they changed Atlantis entirely, and it wasn't just, oh, this is Atlantis, for the Latinos. Yeah. No, this is Talocan. And they made it something that is based on Aztec mythology, with some influencing from the Mayan culture in terms of language and stuff.
Right.
But I thought that was a really clever way that they differentiated and also made it a chance to bring forth the culture in the same way that they brought forth a fictional culture with Wakanda and made it very rich in actual real life culture. They did the same with this, and it was just it was really cool to see that they decided to take it that direction. Yeah,
that's why I like the Black Panther movies so much, is because they portray so much culture. Like, seeing this movie made me want to like go and research like Mayan history and Mesoamerican history and any type of history like that. Even with African cultures, the same thing.
Yeah, it's just I completely agree. There's something about it that just it's so rich too. It's not just in the background.
Yeah,
they really bring it to life.
It's in the forefront.
Yes, and you see it within like the community and families and things like that. Yeah. And dude, it's because a lot of it when they were in Haiti. They reminded me of when Maya and I went to Costa Rica.
Ah, yeah.
And it's just it's beautiful, and there's so much of the world out there that's so vibrant, and that was really captured in this movie. And speaking of Haiti, I for a sec I know I had thought about it somewhere earlier in the film where I was like, where's Lupita? Where's
Lupita Nyong'o?
Yeah, where's Nakia? And then eventually when we got to her, like she brought such a breath of fresh air into the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was really cool hearing her speak Spanish because she's born in Mexico. So it's just to hear the fluency within the town and hearing this.
Wait, Lupita Nyong'o speaks fluent Spanish?
Yeah, well, so she was born in Mexico because her father was a professor there. And that's where she grew up and lived her whole life, and she identifies with being Latina because of her upbringing. And if you live in a world where that's that everything is around you is that I completely back it.
Totally.
So that's why she speaks completely fluent Spanish.
That's so fucking cool, man.
And at the red carpet premiere in Mexico, I was watching the videos of it. I'll send it to you. It was really cool. You see Tenoch Huerta and Lupita like dancing. Because they're playing Suavemente by Elvis Crespo. At some point, I don't even know how this happened. I've just seen the little clip. I don't know if they were in the middle of the interview and then this happened. But then the song comes up and they both get up and start dancing. And everyone else is like sitting down. And then they just get up and start dancing, and it's just this really cool thing.
Yeah.
And it's, man, it was just wonderful to see culture embraced like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that Ryan Coogler, because, the first Black Panther was just like that. Like when I rewatched it, a couple months ago, I was just like, I just saw how much like he cares about the culture, obviously. And then with this one, with Wakanda Forever, that was just amplified by like 100.
Yeah. And
I just loved that it was literally like in the forefront. Like you couldn't get away from it. And I think that was wonderful. Like to me it was.
Yeah.
Because again, I've always been intrigued because I used to live in the Pacific Northwest for about 8 years. So I lived in a part of Washington State.
I never knew this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You were always just a South kind of kid to me.
Yeah.
Because that's when I met you.
Right.
I wasn't aware. Oh, shit.
Yeah. So no, I lived in I lived 30 minutes south of Seattle, Washington.
All right.
And Washington has a very rich, the Pacific Northwest in general, and this entire country, has a very rich history with, indigenous Native Americans. So, being that a lot of the major tribes that are in the Northwest, like they still have like huge plots of land out there and all that. A lot of the national parks and stuff are run by the Native American tribes and all that. They have a lot of museums. They have a lot of, textbooks about the tribes that live there and all that type of stuff. And, when I was a kid, I would read about that stuff all the time, and it was always around. At least in the area that I lived, it was never like not apparent that indigenous people were still, living there. And, so I always found it very interesting to just read up on the cultures, read up on all the tribes, and just, all that. And then, when I see a movie like this and other films that tackle, indigenous history, indigenous cultures, and other cultures that I'm not aware of, another fascination that I have is with Japanese culture. I love the Japanese culture. So I in like 7th grade, I just couldn't stop. Other cultures as well. But just seeing all this stuff, it just makes me just want to go down like rabbit holes of just finding out all this information about all these cultures and all these different types of tribes, and just like where all the, just all that. It just,
I love that.
yeah. Well, thank you, dear. I appreciate that. And I just hope that, it does that for other people too, because, the world that we live in would not exist without these cultures.
Yeah.
And I think that some people don't want to admit that. And that's wrong. So that's my opinion.
No, I hear you. And there's something too that I feel is a little bit different, just in the sense of like, for example, like the characters aren't just aliens, and there's nothing wrong with that. And of course, for all those people who love aliens and sci-fi, myself included, like all for it. But when it's something that's like based in real, and like real people here, like it's just, there's something that just makes it all the more like 2-dimensional,
It makes it better, in my opinion, too, when it's just based in reality. Again, I have nothing wrong with aliens and intergalactic beings and from another dimension, another world. I'm no problem with that at all. But when it comes to some things like especially a movie like Wakanda Forever, the representation does matter. I know I'm a white guy saying this, but I think
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. And I just think that it's just, to have movies like this is extremely important.
No, 100%, man. Like, and I can't even fully express on how much that means for the community. That's all, like, within my own social media feeds, and just hearing so many people talk about it recently, and like the fact that my parents knew about the movie,
right?
Like, because they're not like into social media or stuff like that. They're not with it. They watch some TV, but like, my dad brought it up, and he hardly watches anything, and he's like, oh, like, I heard about the Mexican actors and so on and so forth, and I'm like, oh, like, he brought it up to me. So that was really cool, and just just having this this bigger net that I guess it's being reached. Like, I can't wait to take my parents to see it.
Oh, hell yeah!
And see how they take in everything. And
they're gonna
like
be so happy, dude.
Like, I think so. And like on my mom's side, sorry, my grandfather, my paternal grandfather. Like, I know there's ties into the indigenous land there as well. I remember growing up and seeing people in Native American gear, or Native Mexican, would dress up in like the dances that would happen, and apparently I would run in there as a kid, and even though it was like a whole cultural performance, like, I would run in there and dance with them, and that was a whole thing. And I've always wanted to ask more about it. And now I'm remembering, and I'm going to and see more of that. But switching back again, I guess more to the characters that we were just discussing. In addition to everyone that we've already spoken of, was there any other like additional highlights for you, like in terms of the characters?
Oh yeah, tons. And I genuinely don't know the answer to this question, because I only watched the first trailer and I didn't read anything about the film going into it. Was Riri Williams confirmed to be in this movie before the movie come out?
Ooh, that's a good question, because I don't know if you're going to head into this direction. So from what I've learned, she is in the trailers, I believe.
Okay.
I've only seen the first one as well. I've been meaning to go back and watch all of them now that I can. Is the news that she was in Black Panther Wakanda Forever was well after the very first draft of the script was created. Okay. Now, I don't know if this is where you were heading, of whether or not she was written into the film because of her Disney Plus series that's coming up.
Oh, no.
Or was it...
it was just
now she's getting a lead up because of it.
Well, no, I knew about the Ironheart series. I just didn't want to talk about that specific part of the story with friends I know that haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I see.
Because I don't want that to be a spoiler.
Gotcha. Oh, I see.
So,
yeah.
Riri was a complete surprise to me. I did not know she was going to be in this movie. So, like, when her and Okoye and Shuri were in that warehouse, whatever, and the cops were outside, I said, General Okoye, Princess Shuri, and Riri Williams. I was like, what? No way.
Wait, so you hadn't caught her name up until then?
Because I don't think they said her name, right?
They had, I want to say.
Well, I don't know what it was.
Or maybe it's because I knew she was already in it. That I was already.
Yeah, if you knew, that's the thing. I didn't. I don't think She was in the first teaser. I remember people talking about it now. Because it was I remember it was that scene where she's building something and the heart comes out of the iron, but it was very brief.
I do remember people talking about it.
I don't know. It must have just been one of those things that it slipped my mind. And
so you were
forgot.
aware of the comic book character?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I was aware of the comic book character. I knew she was getting her own series and all that type of stuff. So I knew that. I knew all of that. But I didn't know she was going to be in this movie. Yeah, I had no idea. Okay. So when they're in the warehouse and the cops said Riri Williams, I was like, shut up, no way. Like, I was like, this is how they're going to introduce her? Fuck yeah, let's do it. And she was, in my opinion, one of the biggest highlights of the movie. Mm-hmm. The biggest highlight of this movie was Letitia Wright, though. Mm-hmm. Shuri is a badass fucking character. Yeah. Angela Bassett also was a very big standout for obvious reasons. Like you said, she deserves an Oscar. And that's the talk of the town right now, is that everybody is saying that about her. Everybody in the film was fucking excellent. Yeah. Like, Martin Freeman, I love him, dude. He is everybody's favorite colonizer. You know, he's great. Another character that I was surprised to see in this movie was Val. Yeah. I was like, oh shit!
Valentina Contessa Allegra de la Fontaine.
Yeah, and I mean, her and Ross used to be together.
Yeah, they used
to be
married. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting, like, just a quick drop.
Quick little, like,
it made sense with the way they were getting along, and I'm really intrigued as to seeing, because she's been peppered in now, like throughout the series and films, and now like knowing that she's gonna have a bigger role in Thunderbolts, and stuff going forward. So
now my question is this about Everett Ross: is he any relation to General Thunderbolt Ross? No, just a completely different Ross.
Completely separate. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the biggest highlights for me that, I mean, we already talked about Namor, Angela Bassett, M'Baku. Like, the fact that he was back in himself, and like all the one-liners, like he was just, I got scared that Namor punched him so hard he died.
I thought that,
and when he was alive, I'm like, oh, thank God. But no, more M'Baku. He needs his own series.
He does. I would love to see his own series. But yeah, obviously, like, Namor was an amazing villain. I think he's one of the better villains in Phase 4 and just in the MCU as a whole. He's one of the most intriguing ones, in my opinion. You know, when it comes to which, by the way, I also forgot that we're done with Phase 4 now.
Yeah, this is the final film.
I totally, when I was reading all the reviews and all that type of stuff, they were like, oh, this is the final installment of Phase 4. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. Quantumania will be February. That's Phase 5. Let's fucking go,
Phase 4 technically ends with the Guardians holiday special.
Oh, that's
the very last project
of it.
For sure. But this is the last film. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So within the past 7 films, this is definitely up there.
Yeah.
I'd say, in no particular order, No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, and this have been my favorites of the phase.
Exact same. Yeah. Exact same, for sure. When it comes to the films, absolutely. But yeah, man, like, there's, like, to me, like, obviously, Shuri, Angela Bassett, Namor, Riri, they were, like, the highlights of the entire film. Obviously, I love M'Baku, of course. Yeah. I love everybody. Why wasn't Daniel Kaluuya in? Was it because of Nope?
Conflicts with Nope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How did you feel about the runtime? It was the longest film since Endgame.
Didn't care. Did not care at all. No, I could have gone a lot longer with that movie.
I mean, personally, like, I'm always down for more of a film. Like, I feel like I never have complaints if anything's too long, as long as I'm still engaged. And throughout the entire thing, I was very much engaged, and just seeing things different happen along the way. Like, I personally did feel that the Ironheart storyline did pull a little away from everything. I don't know what it was exactly, but I really enjoyed Riri. I'm excited to see more of her. I felt like there was parts of it that did feel kind of rushed to an extent. And this is, just my own observations. It was more like and I get that they have, that they established it, and we saw her Mark 1 version of armor was really cool.
So cool.
And then seeing her upgrade, that was awesome. It was just because in a way, in a lot of ways, she is the new Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like, we got to see a lot of Tony Stark, and the very first step versus the last step, and the steps along the way, that the fact that she went so quickly from suit to suit and while being on the run, and I get that she's a genius, it just felt that it pulled away a little bit from the main story.
Sure. I can agree with that.
But I mean, she did great. I enjoyed everyone, as we've talked about. I thought it was an absolutely beautifully beautifully made film.
Oh, yeah.
Handling so much. The fucking mid-credit scene, dude,
Broke me.
got me. Oh, dude, so hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Is that Chadwick's real son?
oh, I don't think so.
Kind of looks like him, to be honest.
I don't know if he had kids.
I don't know either. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I feel like I would have heard a lot more.
That's a good point.
Case, you know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like, oh, you know, Chadwick's real life son gets to, you know, also portray. You know, I feel like we would have heard that. No,
But yeah, and the fact that they named him after T'Challa, oof, boy, oh boy.
And what's interesting too, I mean, like more down the line, which they can totally do, I feel, is they now as we've seen in these properties, you know, they're building more and more teams, and you know, things are moving down the line. One of the things that we've been seeing is Young Avengers being geared up.
Totally.
You know, we have Kate Bishop. Yelena could potentially be in it, but she's in Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Like we have the Maximoff twins. You know, Patriot was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like there's a lot of hints towards that. I feel at this point, because they've now established this, we could potentially get a time traveling version of an older T'Challa, the second, be a part of this team.
Oh.
Or the Avengers. It could be an older version.
Could be.
Like,
wow. Okay. I'm into that.
It's entirely possible. It's not unheard of. We've seen very similar things happen in the comics. Bishop, in particular, from the X-Men, he has a very similar storyline. I don't know. It's just something that came to mind of like in the sense that there's now a chance to do something like that.
Yeah.
You know. So I don't know.
That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, there's a whole world of opportunities now.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the multiverse saga. We have a few years left of it still, so like anything's
and there's
possible.
so much that's gonna come out. It's insane. Yeah. So yeah, fucking love this movie, man.
Me too, man. Like I said, for me, this is definitely top 3 in Phase 4, and you know, when it comes to the grand list of all of it, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
We're not even gonna touch that, but
it's a whole nother ballgame.
You know, yeah, but man, I don't really know what else to say other than that.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything additional. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I feel like I had a few more questions involving. Oh, I also honestly I thought Shuri was gonna die when her and Namor fought.
Oh, okay.
That
when
was
she got stabbed.
when she got stabbed, that was
dude,
shit.
I really wasn't sure how they were gonna end that because it looked at some point like Namor was straight up dead or dying, and then you know he stabs her and he walks away, and then she's okay, but then she's gonna like there was a lot back and forth right there. Yeah.
What'd you think about Shuri's suit?
I thought it was really sick. I really liked the additional details they added to it. Yeah. I was upset that it got spoiled for me that it was gonna be her, because I remember in the very very first teaser trailer you only saw like Black Panther's like waist, like leg, and then her claw, and that was it. So there was a lot of rumors or just theories of like whether it's a male character, whether it's a female character, you know, who it could possibly be. And I remember when the first official trailer dropped, I skipped it. And I then saw what was sure to be a screen grab from it on Fandango when I was just looking up movie times, and it was the new Black Panther right center, and like I recognized the dots, and I'm like, well, that's Shuri.
Yeah.
Yay. I got it. Run that. You know, I had a good feeling it was gonna head in that direction.
I knew it was gonna be her from.
You know.
Yeah.
It you know, but she looked really cool. I really appreciated it, like the design wise.
The only reason why I knew it was going to be Shuri is because it happened in the comics, something that I just read about. Obviously, I never read the comics.
I mean, well, there's been several people that have taken up the mantle as needed. Right. Yeah. Storm at some point.
Really?
Well, she was married to T'Challa.
What?
Yes.
This is so cool.
Yeah, for a good chunk of time. I mean, there was like this whole what's the word I'm looking for? Like courtship that had happened for like years and a lot of flirtation for fucking years. Oh my gosh. And then they finally got married and it was epic, and she was queen of Wakanda. And Storm just being the badass she already is. Yeah. It's just on top of that, and she filled in the role briefly when something happened to T'Challa. But then in one of the popular storylines, they have a son, Azari, and I thought he was gonna be Nakia's kid at first. Oh, and because he's both of their kids. Because of who his parents are. Yeah. He has natural increased strength and agility, but can also manipulate lightning.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's just a little
cool.
badass. Yeah,
So cool, man.
And I thought maybe that was gonna be him, but it's Toussaint.
Was there
T'Challa the second?
excuse me? Was there anybody in this movie that you were hoping to see that didn't show up? I don't.
No.
I know you're not the type of person to think
yeah.
of that, but like just out of pure curiosity.
No, I mean I think I was like well aware of who was showing up, who wasn't. From the Dora Milaje all the way through. I knew that the fact that Mabaki wasn't in it. Dan Kaluuya's character.
Oh, okay.
Killmonger, I wasn't sure, but that I didn't expect him to show up.
Yeah.
I
didn't expect Killmonger at all.
I have like a side note that I thought was really funny to me, but I think it'll be only a small percentage of the audience that might get it.
Okay.
So Letitia's haircut as Shuri, with the sides being in the back being very short, and then the front kind of being pushed forward and having kind of the curl off to the side a little bit. It reminded me so much of Will Ramos from Lorna Shore.
Oh my god, it does.
It's like the vocalist for a deathcore band. Like it just like every single time, like it was like from kind of from like a behindish angle or side angle.
I cannot unsee that now.
All I thought was Will. Like that's all. And then like because she was wearing like the track suits and stuff like that. And he wears a lot of dark colors. I just kept seeing Will.
Let me just say this as well. When they're not in Wakanda and they're just like in like regular clothes.
Oh, they're stylish as well.
Everybody is so fucking stylish. Yeah. It is ridiculous.
Dude, it actually made me want to up my wardrobes. Like, it really did. Like, I should just be super fancy.
Those sunglasses that Okoye was wearing, I was like, where can I get one of those, dude? Like, Shuri just also looked so good, like, in that fucking, like, tracksuit. And I just thought, oh my God.
I was like, I need to up my gear.
So fly, dude.
I need to get shark teeth and a headdress, just like the Talakans, and like do all this.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because like it looked really cool. Like everything that everyone was wearing was like the costume designer, directors, production designers. They all need awards for this too.
Absolutely,
everything looked super fucking sick.
And I love also. I wanted to say a couple of things. Visually, this is a great movie to look at.
Yeah.
I feel like the CGI was.
Everything was. I think it was better than the last film for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Not that there's. The first film is great, but
CGI could have used a little work But I mean, this like especially with so much water.
Yeah,
I had to make that look really good, and they did.
That must be a very what's the word I'm looking for? A difficult task to make that look real.
They handled and they did really well.
Yeah, the technology in the film was so like the thing that Nakia used to go down to Talokan.
Oh yeah,
like dude, that was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say, yes, I believe the costume design was stepped up. Like, holy shit! Like everybody looks so fucking sick. There's a couple other things that I want. Oh, just like visually, as far as like the cinematography goes, one thing about I don't know if this is just Ryan Coogler in general, but I noticed that in this movie and in Black Panther, I haven't seen anything else he's done, so I can't say. What?
No, I was just smiling at the camera.
Oh, okay. I don't know if he is known for his like behind tracking shots, like whenever Shuri would like enter a room and it would be like her backside
you've seen Creed?
No, I've never seen those movies.
Oh shit, dude! Wow. Go watch them.
Okay.
Michael B. Jordan at the top of his game.
No, I know.
And he's directing the third one.
Michael B. Jordan is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And Tessa Thompson is in them, and she's amazing.
I love her.
And Sylvester Stallone is back.
Yeah.
Go watch those movies, please.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
I know.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's cool. I know Ryan Coogler did those movies. I just hadn't seen them yet. But I don't know if that's a thing that Ryan Coogler does. But just every
tracking shots.
Those like behind, like when you see the actor walking, you see their backside.
Yeah.
And they enter into a room and it's all big and
it's always epic.
I was just like, oh, that's so cool. I love that. For some reason, it just gets me going. But I don't know why it's so silly, but like.
No, I mean he has a very specific vision, and that's part of it. I think,
yeah.
And it's gorgeous. The film was beautiful, as you just mentioned, so many levels. Yeah. I think I don't have anything additional. I think
Nothing more yet. I think that's it for me too. Yeah.
I feel like I can talk about some more, just because I love the character backstory. The sad story of his mother.
Very rich history with that guy.
And just seeing, the fact that it was a meteorite, the same, vibranium meteorite, but that flourished under a plant, and that plant grew, and then that's where they got their powers. Like, I thought that was a really interesting twist to what the traditional Atlanteans were in the comics. And just seeing all that come to fruition.
The one scene, with that ship, and
towards the opening
the part with like attack. Lake Bell and
Lake Bell. I did not expect to see her in this at all. I think she's awesome and completely underrated. She's currently the voice for Poison Ivy in the Harley Quinn animated series.
So great.
And she showed up, and I was like, oh, and then she disappeared.
Yeah, I know.
That whole opening was
it was a little bit scary.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And the way it was done,
that siren song.
The way they built, yes.
That siren song was so
I love that they
creepy.
brought that up, because it's like, within the mythology of, mermaids and sirens, to be specific, and the calling and all that was really, really cool.
Yeah, and the way they just like were in that trance, and they just all walked off the boat like that. And I was just like, man. It was pretty. And then the other guy,
the older guy, right? He looks familiar.
Bart Bass from Gossip Girl.
Holy shit, it is.
I don't know the actor's name, but
wow. Yep, no, that's him. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude.
I know. I thought that they were gonna be in the rest of the movie. Like I was like, oh, good, they'll be in with like the Everett Ross Val thing, and they just weren't. And that's fine. But I was just like, oh man, I just love them both as actors. But yeah, like I don't think I have anything more to say other than that. I mean, like, that was. I know I said that 2 other times, but
the movie was amazing. Hopefully, you guys thought it was amazing. What does everyone think? Please let us know.
Yes, please. Like, interact, leave a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Hit the bell to get every notification. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music, please leave a 5-star review. A nice one would be nice. It helps us out a lot. And
this episode was brought to you. Oh no, it was recorded at Dark Side Studios in Orange County, California.
Very excited for the holidays coming up. That's going to be a lot of fun, man. Thanksgiving is next week. Gosh.
We were just talking about that like off air, and that is insane how quickly everything has like happened. Well, we're recording this right now. This is Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, November 15th.
15th. Just the idea that Thanksgiving is next week is beyond insane.
I'm sure we'll do an episode of our favorite like holiday movies.
Yeah, we need to. We were talking about doing that, and we really need to.
We definitely should. That'd be a lot of fun. I have so many.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna sneeze, so we need to take off.
Okay, for sure. Thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.